trying to make a change, thinking about it rarely works. What I found is much more beneficial is observing behavior. So behavior observation is the creative principle that we are going to talk about today. And where it's kind of based off of for me is, as a fashion designer, I would need to spot trends because you want to make sure that whatever you're designing is appropriate for whoever you're presenting it to. And not just what they tell you their needs are, what the needs are that they don't even know that they need. And you need to see what's going on in fashion in the direction of where it's going, not where it is today, where it's going to be in a year. Because most often you're designing about a year in advance, at least when you start the very first part of that process. And so I remember as a young designer, we would go and we would get these forecast services, and they would tell you exactly what's trending. But did they really? Because when you started to really live through the cycle of the trend, from when you first heard it and saw what actually happened at retail, and then found out exactly who was really wearing it, you find out they're not always on track. Even services today, they rely so heavily on data from social media. So for example, let's take red dresses. Let's say the red dress is predicted to be a big trend. Now, is that because all of the brands and the stores and the buyers all got together and that's what they're gravitating towards? Because they're people, they have opinions, they have wants, they have things that they gravitate towards too as well, right? Doesn't mean it always works for their clients though, their customers. So maybe all the stores have red dresses in the window, but that doesn't mean anybody's going to walk into the store and buy them. As a matter of fact, it might be in the front window and it might pique someone's interest. They walk in, but they buy the black dress version of it. So red dresses, they might be eye-catching. They might get people into the store. They might get people to purchase, but they didn't actually buy the red dress. And a lot of these services sometimes now, they rely heavily on what goes on in social media, like who's posting what, how many posts do you see out there, who's talking about what in posts, like how often does it come up, and maybe red dresses are across the board. But we all know how many of you post everything on social media that is 100% true to everything in your life, right? We show you what we want to show you, and there's a lot of influencers out there, and they are touting the trends that have been fed to them. And then somebody else sees it and says, oh, wow, red dress is really important. Well, I don't really like red dresses, but I don't want to be left out. So I'm going to take a picture of myself and put it on Instagram of me wearing my red dress. So that doesn't always dictate exactly what's trending. As a matter of fact, even if somebody purchases a red dress, doesn't mean that it's important to them. Do they wear it? So I always thought of it in different layers, like, what do you put, what's in the store windows? Okay, is that important? All right, so now when you see customers, do they gravitate towards those? Do they look at them with their eyes? Do they look at the fixtures with the dresses on it, the mannequins, whatever the display is? And then do they touch it? Because we are tactile people, and when we touch it, that means we have a greater interest in it. It's kind of like if, some people are, you might only talk to them this way, but some people, like my nieces and nephews, whenever I sit on the sofa, they all sit right next to me. Like there's this giant sofa, but yet you're sitting right next to me. I know that they like me, right? If they didn't like me, they wouldn't sit next to me. So there's that proximity that we look for. And it's from walking over to it, to looking at it, to touching it, to picking up the hanger, taking a look at it, holding it up to yourself. All of those things are key for gauging how much somebody's really interested in something. But it doesn't stop there. Do they actually purchase it? Now, when they purchase it, do they actually wear it? And do they wear it more than one time? Because haven't we all gone to the movies and we paid our money, yet no one asked us. There's nothing at the end of that where you can check, yeah, I didn't like that. I wish I could get my money back, but I can't. No, it's already recorded that this movie grossed so much money. It doesn't mean people liked it. It just means a lot of people paid money for a ticket. And so it's the same thing with clothing too. Like I just cleaned out my closet a few weeks ago and I probably found like 5 things that still had price tags on it. that who knows when I bought them. They were some of them from like many years ago. And for whatever reason, I kept them there, but I never wore them. So I had an interest, and either I forgot to return them, or maybe I just never really found a reason to wear them. Maybe it just, fizzled out. The love affair ended. So none of them were a red dress though. But so that's what I look for, is I look for whenever I can to see how to make a change. I look at behaviors because it's much more telling than what I think based on observation. So when I wanted to get unstuck from writing LinkedIn, for example. When I first came to LinkedIn, I was writing posts. I'd open up a blank Word document. I'd sit there forever. And all I did was sit in like, oh, I don't know what to write about. Oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. Oh, I don't have a good formula. What's a hook? I can't figure out a good hook, and all I could think about were all the things that I couldn't do. So then I started noticing, what do I do when things are running smoothly? Because there were times it might have taken me a half an hour, sometimes an hour. It's kind of embarrassing to say, but it's true. Before I got into a rhythm. So then I started observing, what was I doing? What were my behaviors? Not what I was thinking. What were my behaviors while I was feeling good about writing something? And then I started to do those behaviors on purpose. So one of the key things that I noticed, that I was open and I was loose with my body. That was one thing. And when I was stuck, I often did this. I touched my face a lot and I would cross my arms. Another thing that I noticed when it was feeling good, I'd move my head a lot. So versus like trying to I don't know what to type. I was moving things, around. I had a looseness about me. So then I started mimicking those behaviors of in flow when I felt stuck. So instead of coming to, okay, open up the blank document. All right. So now here, what do I do? Okay. So let me sit and do this. Oh, you know what? I could type, and then I would have like a couple of words, and I would keep on purposely, intentionally doing kind of those movements that I knew that I did when I was typing out perfectly fine. And now when I come, it's been so automatic now. When I sit down, that blank screen is rarely blank for very long. It normally gets something put on it. Now, that something may get edited out later on, but I start. And momentum is half the problem for me in any time that I'm stuck. And I imagine probably for you as well. So that is what I recommend that you can do today quite easily. Start observing your behaviors of something you like, that you feel productive, that you feel good about, you feel like you're doing it right. And then how can you do those behaviors on when it doesn't feel good? So that's what I would recommend doing for our behavior observation. All right, see ya.